call the meeting to order. Please be aware, our RMB council meetings are live streamed on Facebook. Live stream comments are not monitored in real time during the council meeting. Order of business.
Need to read the...
Yes, in the spirit of reconciliation, we acknowledge that the land upon which our organization stands is unceded Mi'kmaq territory. Abegwit, EI, Mi'kmaq is covered by the historic treaties of peace and friendship. We pay our respects to the indigenous Mi'kmaq people. We have occupied this island for over 12,000 years, who have occupied this island for over 12,000 years, past, present, and future. Declarations of conflict of interest. Do any members of council have a conflict of interest with any items on today's agenda? Okay.
Hearing none.
No conflicts. Approval of agenda. Any other suggested agenda items for today's meeting to be placed in item 18?
Madam Chair, there's Mayor Gillis has supplied a note from Iraq, which I'll be reading out.
Okay. Jim, you got your hand
Well, I
up?
just want the council to be aware of something that was in the paper.
Okay.
Okay.
What's the issue?
That letter from the mayor of Victoria.
Okay.
Everyone should have to read that.
Okay.
Okay, Jim.
It sort of deals with a couple of things.
Thank you, Jim. All right, if there's no other suggested items for this evening, I will need a mover. Trish, seconded.
Charlie.
Charlie. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we got the agenda, votes for, votes against, okay. Our CMP report for the month of April,
Okay,
presented by Ashley.
thank you. So Sergeant Robinson couldn't make it tonight as he's on duty, but he did send over the April RCMP report, which I provided to all of you. Our municipality is maintaining its incredibly low incident rates in comparison to other areas on the island. This report will join past reports on the RMB website for public review.
Okay, thank you, Ashley. Public presentations, if any. Looks like
None.
we've got a quiet room of public this evening.
First nice day of the year, so.
Yes.
Evening.
We're all up
Everyone's
on the lawn.
enjoying the nice evening. All right, adoption of the April 17th, 2024 council meeting minutes.
All the changes were previously distributed and all changes incorporated.
Can I have a mover, please? Moved by Trish, seconded by Billy. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Hey,
Any nays? All right. Business arising from the April 17th, 2024 council meeting minutes.
So it's already addressed in today's agenda and there's no other.
Okay. Number 8, CAO report by CAO Bob Brooks.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So as you can see, this is only the second month of our fiscal year. So the account balances are attached. Everything's on track. New in this report that you will now see on a monthly basis on our council meetings is the revenues and expenditures tracking. Thanks to Councillor McGivern. It will track what you see in front of you now is basically the first month, and we will have those figures updated at the end of each fiscal month. So right now we're basically on track. As you know, with any kind of cash flow, sometimes they're not you know, the amount that you might have in a block is not necessarily gonna be spent as 1/12 each month. Sometimes it's gonna be front-loaded or at the end or in the middle or somewhere like that. But basically, everything's on track so far with the revenues and expenditures. Was there any questions about the report and or the format? Is the formatting okay for everybody?
Yeah.
It's basically the same as the budget document.
No, it looks good. I like having that to date.
Okay,
Yeah, that looks good, Bob.
thank you,
Thank you, Bob.
thank you.
Lovely.
That's it for me.
Moving along, number 9, adoption of the March 8th, 2024 Community Grants Committee meeting minutes.
Yeah, this is on the agenda simply because there's not going to be a community grants meeting for probably till next year. So, for that, we then bring it to the council meeting for committee members only to approve. For this meeting, the only members here, which is just exactly a quorum for the committee, we have Councillor Gamble and Councillor Kinney. So it's up to those two gentlemen to pass the minutes from the meeting of March 8th.
I'll move.
Moved by Billy,
Pass minutes.
The March 8th Community Grants Committee minutes.
to approve them.
Yeah,
These ones, Jim,
yeah, they're in your,
they're in the package tonight.
committee members had supplied some comments. We made the changes and basically the minutes incorporate all the changes that were.
Oh, so this is approving the minutes?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Okay,
March
I'll
8th.
second that. I was not in
Second by
agreement with
Jim.
Sorry, who was it moved by initially?
Billy.
Billy? Okay, thank you.
In this case, the committee chair gets to vote, so you can call the vote.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay,
All opposed? There's nobody else? All right.
thank you.
Thanks, Billy. Number 10, official community plan and development bylaw, presented by CAO Bob Brooks.
Thank you. I'll just grab some here. Okay. We've had actually quite a bit of progress on it. I'll read what's on the document first. RMB has been in discussions with FOTAN. They're the FOTAN Planners Inc. That are doing our official community plan and development bylaw about a timeline and process to start up again. There's still no confirmed date at this time. However, we're working that out. Process would be FOTAN creating a next draft, which is now completed, based on the matrix comments, and bring to a public meeting for confirmation and or further amendments if required. The new drafts and matrix will be posted on the RMB website very shortly, actually, because now we have all the documents that include the matrix changes. And once we've finalized the timelines and process, RMB will post public notices on that as well. In the meantime, we were contacted by Megan Williams, who's with the Lands Division, and she had mentioned that she would be willing to make a presentation to council so that council could understand everything about what would be required for the official plan and development bylaw. We would be talking about the process as well as what our responsibilities would be if we finalize it and it goes into force. And so she's willing to make a presentation. I suggested to her a date that's a couple weeks from now, simply because we would like to get the official plan and development bylaw consultations resumed as soon as possible. the idea is that we would try and finish up and get a document sent over to the minister in 2024. How long it takes the minister is anybody's guess, but sometimes it can be months, and sometimes it could be many months. What I had done, and I've attached the email that I sent to Megan, is the process of where we're at. So I'm, for the people on the Facebook live stream, I'll read out the email. We're looking to see if Wednesday, May 29th at 7 p.m. works for the lands division, and that meeting would be open to the public and would be a special council meeting for council and the public. At that time, it'll be a public meeting and would be live streamed on Facebook as well. We have a very large following that like to tune into the live stream show, and especially for the community plan and development bylaw, there seems to be a lot of interest, so that should help the attendance. Our situation currently, one, council has given the go-ahead to resume the consultations. This is an email to Megan just to bring her up to speed, but council has given the go-ahead to resume the consultations to completion of the official community plan and development bylaw. Two, council is now aware that once completed, approved by the minister, and put into force, RMB would be responsible for development permits approval. And per the recent meeting, they are aware that RMB is also responsible for anything related to the plan and bylaw in the process of doing a development permit, which is monitoring informational enforcement of the plan and bylaw by our development officer. The development officer, by the way, is not confirmed at the moment, but we do have a development officer from Eastern Kings who I am speaking with
Friday at 11.
Friday at 11. So we'll be talking about, and that, actually, I'll say it here. So number three, once the development approval process is completed by RMB, responsibility then goes back to the province for the remainder, which is the building permits, mechanical, electrical, sign-off, etc. RMB will be setting up a fee system administered by our development officer for the development permits, and the forms were provided by FO10 Planning Inc. FO10 has completed what they believe to be the final drafts of the official plan and development bylaw. Prior to what may be the final public meeting in this matter, RMB is having the development officer from Eastern Kings, John Ployer, review all the documents and provide an opinion for council and any suggested changes prior to signing off. So once he has that opinion for council, I'll make it available to council prior to us going into a public meeting, so that you're well aware of the development officer or potential development officer opinion. The reason we picked up or we're asking for Mr. Ployer to provide an opinion is because Eastern Kings already had an official plan and development bylaw, and then they found some holes in it. So they have spent the last couple of years revamping that, and so I'm interested in finding out the lessons that they learned.
And how long has Mr. Ployer been involved with them?
As far as I know, about a year now, because it used to be somebody else.
And is there a charge for this review?
That's what I'll find out on Friday. Oh, well, I certainly expect to pay him for something. I don't know what it is yet.
Okay.
All final draft documents will be posted to the RMB website for public and council review. And 8, at a public meeting, probably by Zoom, FO10 will go over the documents. Council can approve in principle or make further recommended changes at that time. The reason I say approve in principle because once council is happy with the documents, then it has to go to the minister. What's his name again? Anyway,
Lance?
yes, Minister Lance for final approval. Once they get final approval, then it comes back to council so that we can make the final approval and announce what date it will come into force. So I then said that this is where we are at currently. I look forward to your presentation to council to address any concerns they may have and provide any clarifications you may have. Thanks for your offer. Please let me know if Wednesday, May 29th at 7 p.m. works for you. So that's the email that I sent out to them this morning, and they have already gotten back for some preliminary questions, but no confirmation yet as to whether that date works for them. The reason that date was picked is because it was a Wednesday evening, and council seems to be more available Wednesday evenings at 7 p.m. than any other time. Did anybody? So in my mind, that was a great suggestion that came in from Megan, that she wanted to make a presentation to council to make sure everybody was up to speed, and basically so the council heard it from the horse's mouth about what exactly to expect out of this stuff. Does anybody have any questions they want?
I would like to see FOTAN provide a list of additions to the Provincial Planning Act that they have included, because when they made that presentation before, I looked at it, and all they had copied the Provincial Planning Act, and that's essentially what they presented. So,
Yes,
of course,
that's no problem. As a matter of fact, we already talked to them about it. I asked for the official plan. As you know, we had that public meeting, and a lot of people, including yourself, had comments about what could be included, what's not included. So they have provided us with the track change document. So that way you'll be able to see whatever additions or deletions were made to their initial draft. The matrix itself, which Councilor McGivern fixed up for us, taking out a lot of the personal information. In that document, it shows where the information is coming from, or what legislation that's under. So that should, and then if you still have some questions, they'll be able to answer those questions on their call. So you'll see the new draft.
what do you say on their call? They're
Well,
not coming here.
it's a Zoom call planned at the moment because they've already fulfilled their contract of meetings for attendance. However, I asked them if they could do another one. They said, well, we can do a Zoom call. Anyway, so you'll have a chance to look at all the stuff that they've provided, and if council still has some concerns, they can make those known, and then council can decide if they want to move forward, if they want to go to more consultation. If they want to go to more consultation, we will have to go back to FOTAN and renegotiate, because they've basically fulfilled the amount of meetings and input that they were requested and required to do.
Well, all I'm concerned about is a definite list of what is in addition to the Provincial Planning Act, the Environmental Protection Act, the Land Protection Act.
Yeah.
Because they can't delete anything from that, and we have to follow it. So all they can do is make things more restrictive, and I'd like to see a list of what that is.
That's
And I
not
also
exactly
need-
right.
And I also need a understanding of this zoning. I see they had developed 3 different zones. Now, normally in municipal politics, when you have zones, that means that you can do certain things in certain zones you cannot do in other zones. So in a rural area like ours, I would like to know what it is you can do in one zone that you can't do in another, and I'd like it very clearly spelled out.
Actually, and that's exactly what Megan is going to do. So I would take a look at the documents that I'll be giving you and come up with any questions, and I would advise asking Megan Williams, and she's going to bring an entourage of other assistants as well. So any questions you have like that, the lands who are actually in charge of the legislation, or administering the legislation, they're the ones to ask that question too. So all of that will be able to be done both with the officials from lands and also with FOTAN, and also we're going to be getting an opinion from our from a development officer. And speaking of the development officer, if everything works out okay, we may or may not be bringing that particular person on board. Because they deal with approximately 50 applications a month on average, 40 to 50, that only works out to be about a part-time position. So a couple days a week. And out of those 40 or 50, not all of them are development permits. They just gave them the quantum of documents that go through the
And this is
department.
like specific to our municipality? Or-
Yes, this is our
This is from the
municipality.
province?
No, yeah, the province has dealt with for our municipality. Like I said, not all of them are development permits, but some are building permits and or whatever.
So is the province planning on eliminating the property development officer and the support staff that's currently operating on the access center?
No, what's happening is as more and more municipalities take on roles, they will be able to help with the backlog. As you know, they do not have enough development officers, and they're finding it difficult to keep up. So in this manner, they are able to spread out their workload and get things done a lot quicker. At the same time, they'll be their people will be able to look at stuff that we provide them, and because it's being provided by a knowledgeable development officer type person, then our applications should be able to be approved a lot quicker, or approved or amended or whatever. Right?
Well, I'm gonna have a lot of questions then for that girl on the 29th when she comes, because I happen to be the manager of that service, or the administrator of that service center where we issued all those permits
Okay.
for a long time, and I know that the property development officer covered all of eastern Prince Edward Island,
Right.
and had no issues at all in keeping up with anything. So
When
unless they-
when was that?
Well, I retired in 2002.
Okay. Well, since that time, it's been, apparently, it's according to the FPIM, there's been quite a backlog, and they've been lobbying for solutions to help cover that backlog. So this is what the province has come up with. And Councillor Catherine Bryson also mentioned that in the meeting with the FPIM, the province is talking about extra funding for municipalities that have their own official plan and development bylaw to help cover those.
A little bit
As
of
an
the
incentive.
cart before the horse. I think that probably should have been arranged before they
Yeah.
had us take on the liability.
I agree.
It's one of those unintended consequences that
Yeah.
the planners were also hot to go about getting these things arranged.
Yeah.
About getting the municipalities all engaged, that they forgot about the fact that somebody's got to pay for it.
Yeah. So anyway, so we've made quite a lot of progress since last meeting in regards to the official plan, and by having a development officer give an official opinion, and also having lands be able to provide you with a forum where you can ask them any official questions, and also the fact that we now have updated drafts of the official plan and development bylaw. We also have the forms, by the way, that were provided by FOTAN. So we've actually made quite a significant progress since last meeting in regards to the official plan and development bylaw and moving forward.
Okay, earlier on, you had mentioned something about plumbing and electrical permits as well as development. There's a big difference between, so are you saying that with this taking over, we're also going to be involved with having to administer the electrical permit system and
No.
the plumbing system?
No,
Or
what I
just-
said was
or just the
that we're
development
only going to be doing the development permits Once we've got that process completed and provide a permit, then it all goes back to the province, like building permits, like mechanical. Basically, they're doing all the rest. So the only thing that we're doing is the development permit side of it, which gets the process rolling. After that, it goes to their inspectors and regulators and all that kind of stuff. We just have to say, somebody's got to come in and say, hey, what do you think about a 10-unit low-cost housing for your area? And we'll go through our process, say yes or no. Once we give them a permit or deny it or vary it, whatever it is, then it goes back to the province to administer the rest of it.
So we're gonna be responsible for any legal costs that are associated with challenges to our approval process?
There's an automatic redress for the development permit process, which is not legal. However, if somebody does a legal challenge, absolutely, we would be, that's why MRSB suggested that we have a legal person or a legal portion in our budget, which we addressed during the budget.
Yeah.
And also, I really liked the suggestion about keeping that money and creating a float basically each year that would build up if there's no challenges, because those things could be large, or but most of them are just filing paperwork.
Well, I hate to say it, but I won't be available on the 29th. 3 Wednesdays in a row, it's my husband's birthday, so,
Hey, what?
sorry.
Okay. But I'll have documents that I'll be sending people, and if there's any
I'll let you know.
if there's any comments or questions you want me to ask the development officer.
All right.
And maybe your husband wants to watch it on
It's
Facebook.
He
Yeah.
doesn't have Facebook.
So fun.
Live stream.
No, 3 Wednesdays in a row, that's probably his limit, and then for his birthday on top, we don't know.
Yeah. So that's everything that I have for number 10, Madam Chair.
Okay. Annexation exercise. Annexation Subcommittee, ASC, met on May 1st, 2024 to discuss the next steps to moving forward with the annexation exercise for RMB. Items discussed included funding for the exercise, communities involved attached, process perimeters with FOTAN, parallel process with community plan, and possible timelines. Next public ASC meeting planned for the month of June.
Yes, depending, thank you, Madam Chair, depending on how the meeting on official planning community or development bylaw go, we may be able to have an ASC meeting in June. We'll see if it's viable to do that at that time. Also, as you mentioned, attached is the list of current and to be considered for annexation communities. So there's 17 current RMB communities. That's this document that I included in the package. And those are all covered within the Belfast Fire Map. And then there's the unincorporated communities that basically surround RMB, but are all in rural unincorporated communities to be considered for annexation, is also numbering 17. However, they include communities that are in the Vernon Fire Map, the Montague Fire Map, and the Murray River Fire Map. So there's a lot of consultation that needs to be done. In addition to that, we've asked FOTAN Planning Inc. just to give us an idea, and the ASC committee, once we get that information, we'll discuss about how we want to deal with that and whether we want to go out to request for proposals. Really depends on what they say. So we have no idea what we're going to do at the moment. We're waiting to hear back.
And what kind of leads do you guys have found on funding for the exercises?
We have 3 at the moment. The first one is Infrastructure Secretariat. However, Infrastructure Secretariat are the ones that supplied us with the funding dollars to do the official plan and development bylaw. However, they were supposed to have an announcement in December about their new cycle of funding, and to date, we have still yet to hear from them. However, what we have heard is that we expect for RMB to have double the amount of money that was available to us last. So approximately $600,000 is what's rumored. I have no way to verify that, and that's just the rumors that are going on. So that would be the first funding source, and the reason they're the first funding source is because they have a mandate for that type of stuff, 1, and 2, they typically will provide 90% dollars, meaning it would only cost RMB 10% of whatever that cost is. So that's the first option. The second option is RGI,
Rural Growth Initiative.
Rural Growth Initiative. And they provide 80% dollars. They will often allow consideration of this type of application if Infrastructure Secretariat is not available for that. So they're sort of the second option that may consider it. The third option is municipal affairs themselves, because they're actually the ones that are pushing annexation exercise island-wide. They said they may be able to consider funding for the exercise, but only if Infrastructure Secretariat and the RGI is not available. So that's how they work out to be 1, 2, 3.
And are any of the funding rules for Infrastructure Secretariat or the Rural Growth Initiative such that you can't have started it before the funding's approved, or are they more flexible?
They're more flexible than that, especially in regards to the Infrastructure Secretariat, because they already know that they've been doing planning with official plan and development bylaw. They know that the annexation process could tie into it as a parallel. But the only expenditures that we've done is committee work. And I should clarify that when they say not started, we would not be able to apply, we can't apply for funding for things that we did already. We can apply for funding things that we have not done yet, like contracting somebody or whatever. So, yeah, that's a better clarification, because this will end up being about a 1 to 3 year process. So, any other questions?
More questions?
Yeah.
All right, live stream of committee meetings. If Min asked the question.
Okay, so council meetings and the public meetings are currently being live streamed through RMB's Facebook page, and staff time has been budgeted to attend those meetings to manage the process. A request was made asking if the ASC meetings could be live streamed. A concern was raised that the public was not informed ahead of time, that there were no staff allocated to manage the process for that meeting, and that this activity was not allocated in RMB's recently approved budget. The question to council: should RMB also live stream RMB committee meetings? If so, that would require RMB's admin staff to attend all evening meetings, whether they are on that committee or not. Staff time would have to be budgeted accordingly.
And this is not just ASC, this is all committee meetings. So that means
Special
you'd have
council meetings.
special
for
council meetings, ASC, community grants, and gas tax.
And
meeting.
also that one coming up with Megan Williams as well.
Correct.
Yeah.
We do expect that we'll be doing special council meetings though,
Right.
as well.
Does the city of Charlottetown televise their committee meetings?
Yes, they do.
Does the provincial government televise their committee meetings?
At least some, I don't know if they do all of them, but I've seen some. And I don't know, it's usually live too.
This,
They're all on
this
YouTube as
request
well.
came from some residents and a councillor. However, we wanted to make sure that council was okay with that before we proceeded.
I just have a question, so it says like a concern was raised, the public was not informed ahead of time.
Oh, that's because the day of the meeting,
Which meeting?
The
ASC meeting on May
meeting.
1st,
Yeah,
it was requested that could we live stream it. And this was hours, well, 5,
Couple
6
hours.
hours before the meeting.
yeah, around 2 o'clock.
Okay, so if I understand, like, there was a request that it be streamed, very late notice
Right.
request, and so
And there
then
was no staff
and
that were
there's no
going to
staff.
be there to do
Yeah.
it.
But those meetings are advertised ahead of time, aren't they?
The meeting is, the
Yeah.
live streaming requires a second person
So
from
I'll
admin to be there.
I'll speak to this. I had the request come to me. The person was unable to attend due to medical. And I asked if it was going to be live streamed. That was kind of it. Not thinking, long term what that would mean as to all council meetings. And that's true, like that's
And
what we have
committee
to.
meetings.
One little request means that we have to look at all these committee meetings and whether or not we want to open that can of worms. Not in can of worms that we're not trying to hide, like they're always welcome to come down and see them, but the can of worms of as we get busier and busier, we're going to be getting a lot more meetings, and that's going to draw a lot more overtime or evening salaries for admin to come and video. So that's certainly something that, when I asked, if this was going to be live streamed, I hadn't even thought that far. It was just an instant request that was asked of me.
We
so
don't
I
make
thought,
any real
I'll
decisions
ask.
in committee meetings, do we? It doesn't,
No.
anything have to go to council?
Everything has to go to council.
Has to go to
So
council in those
they
meetings.
were just interested to see what the discussion was, how the discussion was going.
Yeah.
And then what happens at the committee meetings, they'll make a recommendation to council. So you're correct, there's no decisions made at the committee meetings,
The
only
numbers,
recommendations.
the numbers statistically are pretty high for the amount of people who tune into live stream. Like, there's a lot of people watching, and they might not watch in real time, but usually 24 hours after a post is up, we'll have hundreds of views.
I think
So-
the last committee meeting, wasn't it one of those meetings up in the 400s?
Oh yeah, they're all usually between 300 and 450
Total views.
within 24 hours, and then it just grows.
My immediate gut kind of feeling is that we, like Jim said, we don't make a lot of decisions. We don't make any decisions in committee meetings. And to try to be balanced with the cost to have the meetings, I would be of the opinion that we continue to live stream the regular council meetings, some of the more special meetings, but the committee meetings would remain not live streamed. Public can come, and then people that can't come can read the minutes and the documents, and then they'll also get an opportunity to hear the recommendations live in a regular council meeting.
And I mirror you on that one, looking at the costs, like yes, in a perfect world where everything was free, that would be wonderful. But knowing the cost, and that cost then has to be coming out of the budget, I think sticking to specialty meetings and council meetings is more than okay.
Well, and there's the fact too that we go out of in camera.
Go into in-camera on any kind of negotiations, so then the live stream gets turned off anyway. So,
Yeah.
Just to clarify, like, which meetings are you specifically talking about when you say some of them but not others? Like,
Well,
how are you
just-
guys gonna decide?
Yeah, so like the committee
that.
meetings, I'm saying no. Bob has said we're already committed to the special meeting at the end of the month to live stream that. And
Yeah.
maybe it's on a case by case basis, we decide which special meetings need to be live streamed.
So there's
well, it's, there's regular council meetings and special council meetings. Those are the ones. So for example, when we do the official plan and development bylaw, that's a special council meeting to hold what the difference is on special council meeting is that you advertise that a subject, and you don't get to do like you do on the regular council meeting where you say anything you want to add. There is no adding to a special council meeting. You're there, you're advertising it for a purpose. So the only business that gets done is what's advertised for a special council meeting. So like the official plan and development bylaw would be a special council meeting. This meeting with Megan Williams would be a special council meeting because it's about
What
that.
about the meeting that was held to draft the strategic plan?
That was a special council meeting. But we didn't have, did we?
Yeah, did we?
Oh yeah, we did
live
because
stream that.
some lady said, hey, I recognize
Yeah.
that voice.
Yeah.
So yes, we did live stream that,
The MEMP one coming up is also a special council meeting,
yes.
so.
So
that
if
one-
it's determined as a council meeting of some sort, then it gets live streamed. If it's a committee meeting, and we would have 3 different committees at this moment, they would not be because they, as Jim said, these are just recommendations to council, and that does get discussed at the council meeting, the recommendations.
Yeah, so, for example, the meeting tentatively scheduled for May 29th.
Would be a special
It
council.
would be a special council meeting. If we weren't live streaming it, would Ashley need to attend, or do you think?
If
that
we were not,
If
no.
we weren't, okay, because I think that could probably factor into the decision about live streaming. If it's something that Ashley is attending, and maybe so say there's an example where weren't going to live stream it, but Ashley needed to attend. In that example, if we had both of you needed to attend, and then we decided to live stream it, would we need a 3rd person, or?
No.
Okay, so I think
No,
that
because 2 admin people,
Yeah, sure.
between the 2 of us,
Yeah.
we can get the live stream
So I'm
done.
just thinking that like if that could go into a decision as to whether we live stream stuff, is it causing an extra attendance by Ashley that wouldn't necessarily be needed?
Right. And Ashley's not on any of the committees as the admin backup, it's all me. So,
Because right now for this fiscal year, we've got 2 special meetings on the books tentatively.
Yep.
We'll at least have 1 more, which is with FOTEN and the public on the bylaw and strategic and official plan. I can't imagine that it's just gonna be 1, but you never know. So that's 3 or 4, and then anything else that comes up unexpectedly.
so if I catch everybody's gist here, everybody's okay leaving it the way it is with only live streaming the council meetings, whether it's regular council meeting and or special council meeting, is that correct? Is that what I'm hearing?
That's what I agree with, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, so we'll carry on with that, and then if anybody asks, we will mention that only the council meetings are live streamed.
All right.
Because we're carrying on with the current practice, you don't need to do any kind of vote on it. We would only need a vote if we're gonna change that.
Shop Belfast PEI update, Councillor Carter and International Pastor.
Alright, so, Shop Belfast is ramping up. We have, at the moment, 20 shops that are participating this year, so really happy. It's been well received and picked up. There's some new shops that are actually going to be in it this year, which so it's neat. It's neat to see it grow. We've done some restructuring of it. We've worked through some wrinkles that came out of last year's throwing it together really quickly and making it work. We've learned, we've grown, and we're looking forward to this year. We are ramping up with the Belfast Tulips on May 25th to do our launch for Shop Belfast. So during on May 25th from 10 to 2 p.m. at the Tulip, Belfast Tulips. There's also going to be a pop-up artisan market and live music. Ashley's just showing that right now, so we're going to have that information posted. And yeah, we're quite looking forward to this new season. We're in the process of having yearly T-shirts made up. So this will be actually on the back of the T-shirt. It'll have Shop Belfast 2024 and all the businesses that are associated with it. So it's another shout out for them. Yeah, and we've teamed up with Ashley. Help me.
Sage Studios. Sage Studio
Yes, I'm
Marketing.
sorry.
I'll check. Okay, just a second.
I'm having an absolute mind blank, and I apologize to not have that in person. But we've teamed up with the new marketing group that is launching the Belfast Tulips and helping them. And so they've helped us with this launch of the Shop Belfast at the Belfast Tulips on the 25th. So it's kind of nice to have that extra little tidbit of help there. And I'm just kind of stalling while Ashley hopefully
Thanks.
finds
Yeah,
this.
no, just give me a second.
So sorry, I'm embarrassed that
Good
I totally
system.
forgot that. Right?
There we go. Just a second.
Yeah. And it's nice because the ferry, we've certainly seen some increased ferry traffic since since it started. So that's nice. Even for my shop, lots of tourists have come in. We had somebody from Whistler, BC, was in on Monday. So yeah, so tourists are already coming out, and not just like maritime tourists, but from all sorts of areas. So it's nice seeing it ramping back up, and I mean it's been a beautiful week weather-wise so far to welcome them. So
I have a family of swallows that moved into that red birdhouse you sold me.
awesome. That is great.
It was the red.
It's
It was
red.
the red.
It attracted.
There's one more birdhouse if anybody's looking that needs a new home.
Sage Social Studios.
Sage Social Studios.
Yeah.
I am sincerely sorry for that mind blank. I apologize, but thank you very much, and look forward to seeing you guys grow in the community. And that's all I have for Shop Belfast.
Thank you.
Nicely done. Excellent work, ladies. Municipal Emergency Management Plan, MEP, presented by Admin Ashley Gosjow.
Okay, so I recently attended the PEI EMO Reception Center information session. I provided you all with a copy of my report from that event. There were a lot of takeaways from that session, one of which was to connect with the Red Cross Emergency Management Coordinator in regards to having some emergency management kits on site at RMB prior to a storm for residents to pick up, along with some items and kits that might be useful in the community pantry prior to a storm. I'm waiting for my contact to get back to me on this. I'll have some further updates at the next council meeting as to my progress there. I have requested a large quantity of these emergency preparedness guides for everybody at home, sorry, in both French and English to keep on site at the RMB office. So it's a good tool. The other thing that I've done, which I'll just go into number 14 if that's okay, the Municipal Emergency Management Plan. Is that all right
Yeah,
with you, Lynn?
that's where.
Okay, so I have arranged a special council meeting with PEI EMO to assist the council with our MEMP responsibilities. During this meeting, 2 key positions will be filled, one being the Fire Protection Coordinator and the other one being the Social Services Coordinator. EMO Officer Bryce Doucette will be explaining the responsibilities of each of these roles, along with all of the other roles that are already currently filled. So as a refresher, it'll be really valuable. This meeting is top priority as our community heads into hurricane and fire season, and I'd like to thank council for your flexibility and willingness to make this meeting happen. I appreciate it. And I will go into C, which is the funding for the warming center operations. So at the recent reception center session I attended, I learned that there is potential to access more funds from RGI, which is the Rural Growth Initiative. I am in discussions with Sonia Dixon and we'll have an update at the next council meeting for you. I've provided you all with a list of things that I feel are important to to ask for. But if you guys have any ideas of other things that you'd like to see on that list, just let me know and I'll add them on there. So the list includes things like, let's see. So I've got it broken down into 2 chunks. So there's the big ticket items and then there's smaller items, and I just plan to kind of ask for everything and see what we can get, hopefully. Because the more emergency supplies we have at hand, the better we will be prepared to assist the community. That's my goal here, and I feel it's top priority right now for me. And let me go into the next one, which is scams and frauds, the chat session.
Oh, before you do that,
Yeah.
Ashley, can you talk about the funding for the CCAN and the...
Yeah, so that was
and
included. So that's included in the list.
defibrillator.
Okay.
What's that?
That's included in the list. And the, okay, so, along with your package today is a quote for
Defibrillator is the one that is Fast Fire as well as Island EMS. It is an automatic defibrillator, so it actually walks people through who have no idea what they're doing step by step.
You have that?
Yep, it tells you how deep you're going, how fast you're going, to slow down, to speed up, when to shock, when not to shock. So it's basically, an 8-year-old could use this, really. The nice thing about it is that the pads are very expensive for it, and it's also time consuming. So with this defibrillator, they literally pull the white plug off of this one, leave the pads on the patient, and Island EMS can then plug it into their machine and pack and go. So you're decreasing time, and it's basically standardized versus getting a different company that is, then you have to peel the pads off, you've got to get new pads, you're wasting time when you need to
So
get
you're
them going.
recommending that one?
I strongly recommend it. This is the one that I
What's the
actually have.
lifespan?
I have a contact with
They are-
St. John Ambulance. I can verify that.
I honestly cannot remember the length of the battery,
Oh, fine.
but there's a 6-year standard warranty. There is a significant lifespan on them, but off the top of my head, I don't want to say
Yeah,
fully,
that's okay.
but
You
it's,
would- you would
I myself,
wonder-
this is what I bought.
You would wonder if there would be some kind of like, motivation for the province to really kind of like sponsor everybody to have the same one, then group collectively purchase it, maybe you get a discount, like if this is what's being used in all the hospitals and all the EMS, then, you know, maybe there's a potential for,
Maybe another 10 years when they'll talk.
yeah.
I'm gonna go through a couple other things on that list. So, just so everybody who's watching on Facebook knows, that we've requested, well, on my list is 2 stoves, for the, reception center kitchen, up here in the meeting hall. The stoves are very dated. And, I've been in talks with WIDAC, about those stoves, and they think it would be a good idea to have them replaced, especially if we do actually have to use this as a warming center. I want things that are going to be reliable, that we can depend on going forward, and I don't know about those stoves. Range hood is on the list. One of the other big items, which Bob was referring to earlier, is the idea of maybe asking for funding for a storage shed or even a metal sea can for on-site storage for all of the supplies that I'm requesting. So I spoke to the executive director, Todd Wydack, about this, and he was going to discuss it with the board prior to us even submitting an application for it. But if we ended up, let's say a metal sea can, the idea would maybe have Bog paint something nice on it, and you know, the reason why I'm saying C-can is because they are incredibly durable, and that's sort of along the lines of being prepared, and they are hurricane resistant and rodent resistant. So as long as we find a proper place for it and the board would agree to it, I mean, that would be ideal. However, it may not fit with their vision of this facility, just in terms of the
Aesthetics.
yes, the aesthetics. So anyway, so that's on there, as well as the TV. There's no TV up here. So if, let's say, there is an emergency event and people are congregating here, they have no way to kind of get a feel for what's going on in the news. It'd be nice to have a TV, or even a TV to play some DVDs if there's children here. I just think it might be a nice idea to have one. And the AED is on here as well, which is obviously, this is in no particular order, by the way. This is just, you know, me brainstorming. Some of the smaller items I think are important for this is walkie-talkies, so that staff working here or volunteer help can communicate with each other. Funding for signage. So if there was an event, I would really like to have some signage that could be transferable from either this location or our primary location, which is the Belfast Rec Center. So I'm thinking of like parking signs, visitor center signs. Here's where the water station is if you need to fill up water jugs. So anyway, that's on there. And vests for all of our staff at RMB to wear when they're on site to help them, to make them more identifiable. And funding for more first aid supplies, maybe a set of crutches, a wheelchair, some air mattresses, cots, diapers, towels, blankets, pillows, non-perishable food items, and like I said, maybe a DVD player to go with that TV, but not obviously top priority there, but just a wish. And I heard that the facility in Emerald was able to secure funding for solar panels and a sound system through RGI. So there is potential there to collect some funding. So I'm gonna try my best, and I'll keep you all posted on that.
There you go.
So Ashley, this list, and maybe it just was in the way that you were thinking about listing it, but it might be applicable to both. Is this for this warming center here, or for the Belfast warming center, or both? Or?
I'm hoping for both. Like, a lot of these items could be, you know, transferable. Like, if I know there's a storm coming, or if someone knows there's a storm coming, we can have different people having the items, so whoever gets there the fastest can, you know, set them up. Ideally transferable. The storage unit, I mean, there's no storage here. It's minimal, and the building that we have been using, I believe it has to be lifted and some work needs to be done there. So our office at the moment is too small to properly store a lot of this stuff. So that's kind of where my train of thought was going with it.
Right. Just wondering, if maybe when we're considering the application, that we might inventory what is out for Belfast Rec Center.
That's
to
a good
get an
idea.
As to what could be needed.
Yeah, that's a good idea. So I'll break that list down in terms of what we can take where.
Yeah.
Or,
And then just a little defense of old appliances. I find that they're way better than new ones.
Yeah,
But
That's
I would suggest that we, like, maybe just, if before we decided to go ahead and replace the stove, we make sure that, you know, that there might be some deficiency with them, because
right.
nowadays the new appliances are like built not to last.
Yeah, I'm just going off a recommendation from
Yeah, for
Ryder,
sure.
but I agree with you. And I like the avocado.
Nice thing about that old one is that it's a fuse stove and no computer, no risk of surge. If
Right.
you know, you gotta think with the new stoves, some of them have computer chips in them, and if you get a bad surge and it's not protected, that might die when the power goes out.
Have to have a university degree to operate it.
Is that the green
To
one,
repair
the
them.
avocado?
Yes, the
I
avocado.
grew up with the harvest gold.
Yeah. Oh, well, anyway, it's
Yellow.
just
It's your old
a
stuff.
It
draft.
still works somewhere.
For
The list is still being edited, so I mean, I'm open to any suggestions, anything at all I can add or change or whatever, so.
For the sea can, if that's what we went with, there's some pretty neat ways to kind of put a facade on them so they look like a wooden building too. So
Yeah.
if it didn't quite fit the theme here, it'd be easy enough to make one look it.
I've seen
Or-
people shingle them, like
Or
somehow.
see, or
Maybe
paint them.
make it
to
look like a
match
train.
Yeah,
Or there might
that's
be
actually
some-
really
That's a good idea.
To
Train
Yeah.
car.
store it in the Belfast as well.
Caboose.
There might-
Sorry.
There might be an option that if WIDAC wasn't overly keen about it, that would be stored at the rec center,
Yeah,
if they were amenable to that.
mm-hmm. We'll be discussing this, at the special meeting, so we can go, if you guys have any ideas in between now and then, just write them down and we can talk about them in more detail. Now where are we?
Number 15.
15, so scams, thank you. The scams and fraud session was held on April 27th by Constable Kim Dudley. Thank you to her for coming out. The session was viewed 345 times on Facebook within 24 hours. This topic is very prevalent since reports of frauds and victims of fraud are on the rise. She did provide us with a stat that said in Canada in 2022, over a 6-month period, 32,000 reports of fraud were filed, and there were in that 6-month period, 21,000 people were victims of fraud. So fraudulent behavior obviously ruins lives, and criminals are getting better and better at it. So this session will remain on Facebook for anyone who wishes to learn more. And I've also posted a resource list for people to reach out, contact numbers for people who may have been, who may have fallen victim to some of this fraudulent activity on our website. It's under the news and announcements section, and it has some really great tips and follow-up resources. I'll keep going. ACOA was on site last week for a tour of the facility. They were able to see the newly installed commercial dishwasher in action, along with the new generator. So thank you, ACOA, for assisting RMB with funding necessary to support our secondary warming center. Special thank you to Dan Wang for her patience and hard work through this process. And last item for me is ufology, which is coming up on Saturday, June 1st, here at Wood Islands Market from 1 to 3 p.m. David Ross from PEI UFO Info and Other Phenomena Group will be here, along with Jim Lawrence, who is a MUFON investigator from New Brunswick. This should be a really fun event. Everyone's welcome, and there's going to be some great door prizes. All entrance fees will be used to support the Wood Islands Lighthouse Revitalization Project. And that completes my section for tonight.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Ashley.
guys. Thank you.
Right. New business for the agenda. I guess the first
That's
one.
you.
First one is me, the second,
First
the
few
third,
are
and the
yours,
fourth.
yes.
Yeah. All right, so let me just find the notes here. The first one is kind of short. So this is just the Belfast Consolidated School Report, just happenings of May. Last week the kids went to McPhail's, kind of did like some outdoor walking and trail work and learning about trees. They had their lunch there, and it was a nice day for them. And the annual spring fling is Friday, June 21st, 6 to 8 p.m. at the school. And I do believe they're working on an end of the year field trip for 7, 8, and 9 outside the community as well. That's kind of all I have right now for the Belfast School Report.
Sorry, did you say that the spring fling was in June?
Yeah, it is June 21st. Yep. And my next one is the Selkirk Road concern. So this is a follow-up to my previous concern addressed on the Selkirk Road. So I was in contact with traffic engineer Michael Stewart, and he is going to meet me on Monday, May 27th at the Selkirk Road, and he's gonna begin his audit. So that's taking photos, measurements, and they'll be doing some speed apparatuses as well. Nothing's gonna be finalized that night. This is a process. If there's speed limits being changed or any other markings in the area, there's a process to it. It doesn't just happen overnight or because one person wants it to. So he has to go through his logistics as well, but I think that's a huge win-win for the community that we actually have an engineer coming out that wants to meet with members of the community. Anyone that wants to go can meet, like he's willing to. So we're gonna have some photos ourselves taken because I want to see for myself where the areas are of concern, and we have notified our liaison with the RCMP as well and invited him to participate if he wants to have any input.
What time is this at?
I'm gonna meet him at 6 p.m.
Yay.
Yeah, so 6 p.m. that's Monday the 27th, and I'm gonna meet him on like the Orwell end of the road. Just kind of easy to meet there. I'll be coming from Charlottetown anyway, so we're gonna meet there and just kind of head up toward the Iona and town. We're just gonna kind of go through areas of concern, look where the bus stop signs are, and just the flashing lights, and just kind of go over some things.
Okay, well, I would love to be there. It's my training night.
You want to come?
Can't,
That's
it's too
fine.
close to training to be able to get back to
Okay.
the fire hall.
Okay.
I would love to be able to give you some of my concerns.
Absolutely.
I tried to get
Yeah.
dealt with last year, but
Yeah. And I have spoken to one resident of the Selkirk Road because I gave them a heads up about me meeting the engineer, and they advised me that since the ferry season has opened, the traffic has increased
and it
significantly.
hasn't even gone to peak yet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I will definitely have an update after May 27th.
I'm
hoping
excited.
for a positive one. So yeah, that's good. I'm glad to hear it.
Okay.
And I guess I'm on again to Belfast Days. Belfast Days. Not a lot for the save the date. The dates are June 21st to 23rd. We have confirmed the location again is at the Pinette Raceway. Always gracious of them to give us their venue to use, and the nostalgia that goes behind having it at the racetrack as well. So as always, I'm looking for more sponsors. Sponsorship is needed to have things like this be successful. We all know that. Volunteers, all volunteers on deck. It's gonna be a big event this year, so I'm gonna need volunteers to help me out. We're gonna have that center track, so it's going to be kind of a backup in case of inclement weather for the movie nights. It will be big enough to put the big jumbo screen in and have people sit under it with their folding chairs. It'll be big enough if we need it. Also, I'm anticipating it's gonna be lovely weather, so we don't have to worry about that, but also just kind of an area for some of the vendors that are gonna be there to kind of congregate under there as well. There are harness races scheduled on Sunday, so this is matinee races, the afternoon. Sunday the 23rd, I'm hoping to have at least 5 committed horse owners and drivers for this. The incentive being I have prizes for them. And I'm hoping that will draw like really good incentives to have families even show up for the races and just support harness racing in our community. And as of 2 days ago, the Facebook page is live now. So Belfast Days 2024, share it, invite people, share it. It's a public event. I want it to be in everyone's faces until that weekend. That's my goal, to have lots of people come. And one more. So this is concern for Macaulay's Wharf. And this is a general concern about debris and garbage on site at the harbor area. So I did reach out to the Harbor Authority manager, and I did get a reply that I will read to you, kind of congest the words. So the Harbor Authority Board of Directors agreed a number of years ago to take the garbage cans away because it was evident that people who drove to the wharf were disposing of their household garbage and dirty diapers. There were also oil filters and oil being disposed of in the bin. The fishermen agreed to dispose of their garbage themselves because it was impossible to monitor who was dumping their debris in the can. The can that is presently there is not the property of the Harbor Authority, and we do not know where it came from. Now I'm gonna assume, because there's a lot of construction and work being done to the wharf right now, I'm assuming it belongs to the crew on site. I'm assuming that that's where it was put. So it will be brought up with the board of directors again if the community feels it is necessary. The board is made up of the lobster fishermen who dock at the Macaulay's Wharf. So they do hold one kind of AGM, if you will, a year, and it's in February, so they've already met for the year, but they will meet again if this snowballs, was their word, into something else. But I think the main factor here is if there's garbage there, it's not garbage of the wharf owners, fishers themselves. There is construction happening, there's a crew there working every day. Also, debris blowing from fields nearby and washing up on the shore. It's really not going to ever go away. There's always going to be stuff washing up. It's just a due diligence of picking up your own garbage. It's unfortunate. But at this time, that can does not belong to the wharf, to the Harbor Authority. And like I said, if it becomes an issue, they don't have an issue putting cans there again. They're definitely open to putting garbage cans there. But this has been a road they've traveled down before, so I just wanted to make that very clear.
Okay,
Okay?
thank you.
And that is all I have.
Who would collect the garbage if they didn't put one in?
Sorry?
Who would collect the garbage, dispose of it if it was put in?
I assume just the normal truck that goes around with the bins. They would do every civic on that, but
What do other wharfs do?
Some spots get the GFL bins,
Yeah.
and they just pay out of pocket for
When they
them.
pay out of pocket, the
Yeah.
wharf authority does.
so the fishermen that are using that wharf, they take their own. If people are there walking or fishing or whatever, like that's just never going to be monitored. It's unfortunate and it's unsightly. If there's a can there and there's horrible garbage, then yeah, it can be picked up. But there's no cans there that are the property of the wharf right now. So that bin that's overflowing, I guess it's overflowing is what's happening, and there's stuff, it's not their bin, so they're, I'm sure it's the crew, the construction crew, so it's there temporarily, as is the porta potty that's there. So it's definitely a construction thing, I would say. All right. Community pantry update is attached.
Actually, it didn't, there was no report supplied, so
Okay. Okay.
there won't be any.
So not attached this evening.
I think we can say that since it's been all over Facebook, that they are in extreme need. It was very low, almost empty on the weekend. It did get restocked, and within 24 hours it was depleted again. So definitely very much needed this time of year. So
We do have a contribution, our weekly, or our council contribution.
And then, yeah, there's been some donations this week, which is excellent to hear. So yeah, verbal updates, that's excellent. Federation of PEI Municipalities reports, I believe is attached.
yep.
Well, Catherine decided to supply the report so the councillors had the in-depth information, all the things that went on at that report.
Perfect.
So it's attached.
Okay. For our viewing.
I'll post it to our website as well.
Okay, thank you, Ashley.
Welcome.
Pins, thank you.
Yes, so, large amount of pins, very, very thank you. This is to go with, Kaylee Carter, my daughter, as well as the 3 others that are traveling to Ottawa on the 25th to represent, PI at the National Science Fair. So a huge thank you to everyone that contributed, and also to our MLA, Darlene Compton, as well as Lawrence McCauley. So, thank you, and we look forward to hopefully having good news when they come home. So,
Good luck.
thank you.
Yes, good luck.
Yeah.
Alright, so I just wanted to acknowledge that, as you can see, we are all wearing purple ribbons this evening, some shades of purple. And it is in recognition of Family Violence Prevention Week, which is May 13th to 19th. So it is Wear Purple Day, and the ribbons signify the awareness and the remembrance. We want to remember the victims. We want to support the survivors. Statistically, PEI has one of the lowest, and that's due to our population, of course, opposed to the other provinces. And I did some research on this, and of course, COVID-19 didn't help with helping some stresses in everyone's life. Just want to make sure that we're all aware. Victims are not alone. There are websites for assistance. There's plenty of programs and services available. You can reach out online and just make sure that we're all aware and advocate to prevent these things from happening on PEI with our families, neighbors, and our friends.
Thank you. I just have the one notice from Mayor Gillis. He had asked me to read it out. It's a statement on behalf of Mayor Garth Gillis. Came in today. It was an invitation/request from Island Regulatory and Appeals Commission. So on Wednesday, May 15th, 2024, Mayor Garth Gillis received a notice that the Island Regulatory and Appeals Commission, IRAC, would be holding a trial in the matter of Ms. Perry Aftab. No other information was provided to me at that time. However, this trial will be held at the Confederation Court Mall in Charlottetown. That's the IRAC office. On Wednesday, May 22nd, starting at 9:30 a.m. and IRAC is inviting and requesting that members of council attend if they are available. And that's it. Apparently this issue has been in the works for 10 years or so.
Next meetings.
Oh, Jim has an agenda
Oh,
item.
sorry, Jim. I'm sorry about that.
Oh,
And Billy.
Yes.
I think that would be a good
I got
idea.
one too. Okay.
I think it'd be a good idea for each counselor to make sure that they read the article in the Guardian that was presented by the Mayor of Victoria, PEI today. Because in it, he laid out very clearly the issues that have been, that I've been harping on a lot. And I know it reinforced my own mind, the wisdom in holding off doing our official plan and making it official to the very last second, because of the fact that I think to me it was very clear that with the coming of the MGA, the unintended consequence of it is that was put together by a bunch of planners. And I think it's only now that the province is starting to understand the costs that are being downloaded onto these small municipalities. And he explains it very clearly. And I noticed that in the annual meeting with the Federation of Municipalities, that when the question was put to the Minister of Finance about an increase of funding through the memorandum of understanding with municipalities, if there was going to be an increase, and she did not, didn't seem to be very positive about it. So that tells me there's a number of things. One, the fact that things keep being delayed by government, they keep postponing and they keep changing things around. I don't think that they're very clear yet themselves on what that final MGA is going to look like and how it is going to be paid for. So we do have, I think, until, is it March of 2025 before we actually have to establish an official plan.
Correct.
According to them right now. I don't think that we should be in any kind of a hurry to rush anything through before that, because I know that I'm certain in my own mind that now the MLAs understand that the cost that it's going to be transferred down and the issues that are associated with annexation, that there is going to be significant changes to it. And I would hate to see us jump the gun or get too far ahead of what the final version is going to look like and have to start amending it ourselves. So anyway, I think everybody should read, because he's very clearly laid it out.
I can send it, I have it right here.
Awesome, yeah.
Yeah, he very clearly laid out some of the issues.
Welcome.
Thank you, Jim.
Just
Can
about
I
educating.
suggest, Jim, that when Megan comes, you bring up that point to Megan as well? She may or may not have some information on the funding and or if there's a different timeline that the government is looking at, because the timeline that we're currently on, as you said, March 2025, in fact, that fits in exactly with what our plan is to have it come into force for April 1 of 2025. But not if the province is going to change that date. So that would be a perfect question for Megan, I think.
I'm going to have quite a few questions for her when she's at the meeting.
Okay. Thank you.
Billy, you have something you want to add?
Yes, Sherry couldn't be here tonight, but this weekend is the province's free family fishing weekend from the 17th to the 20th, and Bog is hosting this weekend at 458 Roseberry Road our fishing derby for the year, the family fishing derby. So
What
that's
day is that?
that's let me check here, double check, Saturday from 10 to 1. So that's just at Roseberry Dam.
10 to 1.
And people have to bring their own rods and,
Yes. Yeah.
bait
Take
and all
your.
that.
There might be worms.
Okay.
I'll probably dig some, but
Well, you put
Yeah.
them on, hook to your.
yeah, I did last year. But yeah, that's
Kidding.
this
You said
weekend.
people don't need their fishing license for that.
No. It's actually provincial wide this weekend. You don't need your license.
Awesome, thank you.
Nice. Thanks, Billy.
No problem.
Hopefully it's not gonna rain this weekend.
Yeah,
'Cause
fingers
last year
crossed.
was
I hope it's
awful
good
and then we didn't do
weather.
it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Good, nobody else?
I'm sure I could attach a line to my golf club now.
Yeah.
So I'll see what we can go catch.
I've still got my great grandfather's bamboo fishing rod, and that's all it is. It's like 10, 20 feet of line. You just
Yeah.
go like that.
Tuck it in, yeah.
Yeah.
And it works.
Well, for that pond, it would work perfect.
Yeah.
Is that everybody?
Yeah, no more to add, we're all good? Next meetings, ASC committee meeting, scheduled for sometime in June at the RMB office here at the market at 7 p.m. Date to be announced. Regular council meeting is Wednesday, June 19th, 2024 at 7 p.m. here at this location, upstairs, Wood Islands Market. And the resumption of RMB official plan and development bylaw discussions to be announced.
That would be a good time for us to start talking about potential dates for that, do you think?
No, I need some questions answered first from FOTAN. And also the development officer, because I want to make sure I have an opinion from him before we schedule some.
Yeah, but I'm just thinking that we start brainstorming potential dates and start blacking out, cause there's just gonna be tons of, we'd be like, what about this date? Well, Billy and Jim can't come, and what about this? So if we start maybe blocking out at least a few potential dates, we can always change it if it doesn't work out, but like, if we can get a couple of placeholders in place, then we're more likely to be able to get all of the council to attend. Whereas if we wait until, 3 weeks before, there's gonna be a number of people that might just won't be able to attend.
Okay, well, we can do an email request just
Yeah.
to see what dates work.
Yeah.
Potentially, we were looking at starting sometime in August,
Mhm.
but we'll check with counselors to see what works for them.
Yeah, cause if people have got some travel booked or something like that, we can just kinda get that incorporated earlier on, and then even if we ended up with like 4 potential placeholder dates, like 2 in August, 2 in September or something like that, then at least someone like myself, well, if I'm booking anything, I'll be like, you know what, I really wanna be at this meeting, I'm not gonna book anything for these 4 days, and hope that that will ensure my attendance is secured.
Okay, can do. Ashley and I will also add in the Met meeting on this in the minutes, and also the
29th.
the
22nd
29th with
and
the, with Megan.
I can't help but wonder, with this meeting with, where you're saying that the rural development officer from Eastern Kings would be in attendance, wouldn't it be just as well to have a property development officer from the province who's been dealing with this stuff for the last 15 or 20 years, there that would know everything inside out? This is a relatively new
Yeah,
person, I think.
when we have Megan at the meeting, we can talk about the process that we had planned going forward. And that's a great suggestion to ask her if somebody from their office is available for that sort of thing as well. So
Yeah,
thanks for
someone who
that.
works in the trenches.
Yeah, thank you.
I don't know what her position is, but
Yeah, we can check with her on the day of the meeting for having somebody attend the public meetings for that. She may want to do that herself, but we'll see. Okay,
Sir, no further business? Guess we are safely adjourned. Moved by Trish.
Megan Williams is the manager of land use planning. That's her position, just so you know. And then-
8:31 p.m.
8:31?
Yeah.
Okay.
So Bailey there.
Don't forget